Let's start with capitalist authoritarianism. These are regimes that have market economies. China, Russia. Market economies in which the regimes have a huge role in determining who wins and who loses, so they're systemically corrupt. And they combine this kind of market capitalism with political authoritarianism, either single-party rule as in China or kind of Potemkin democracies in Russia, where you have multiple parties, but only one party wins. There's deep stability in the organisms of repression in Russia. They've proved extremely successful in adapting to a capitalist market economy. In fact, they profited hugely from it. If it topples from internal decomposition. That is, Putin threatens interests so powerful that they replace him. But okay, they replace him. They replace him with what? More of the same authoritarian system. And that's depressing for Russian Democrats. And God knows I want to encourage them. But I think one has to see things, unfortunately, as they are. Illiberal democracy is something different. I mean, in a liberal democracy you have, which Hungary would be an example, where Orban is the kind of chief spokesman in a way. You have competitive elections, but the playing field is never equal. More seriously, you have constitutional change that eliminates an independent judiciary or constrains an independent judiciary. And I think what makes these regimes so interesting is that they've perfected a system of control in which people have enough private freedom so that it prevents them demanding public freedom. There's an odd balance. This is what makes these regimes interesting. They're not the totalitarian regimes of the 50s and 60s. I think in 1989, if you were a Western liberal in the United States or Canada, where I come from, or you thought that if you have market freedom, economic freedom, it must bring you political freedom sooner or later. You can't have private freedom, the freedom to travel, the freedom to own property, the freedom to move, the freedom to exit, without people sooner or later demanding public freedom, which is voice, accountability, political participation, freedom of association, freedom for the NGOs, pluralistic political parties. You'd assume that if you had private freedom, you'd want public freedom. I don't think much can be done from outside, by the way. I think one of the lessons almost everywhere is that freedom is won from within. It's not run from outside. We can encourage, and we should encourage, and free peoples outside of Russia should do everything we can to say, we hear you, we listen, we believe you, we trust you, you are the honest people. But they have to do it with their own hands, unfortunately. Or fortunately. I mean, freedom is most precious when you've won it with your own hands. So I have hope.